So this is another English practice session. I discovered that I need about 10 to 20 minutes to go into this spoken English mood, and then I kind of start to talk the way I want, kind of thinking in English, even with though that limited vocabulary that I have. But for this 10 to 15 minutes at the start, I kind of find the way to go into this talking, and I yawn a lot, and I kind of feel quite tense. So maybe at some point in the future I will reduce this starting period to 5 or maybe even to 1 minute, but for now this is what it is. And today I decided to talk about maybe computer games that I played through some time, or I wanted to play. I read about them, I watched the walk through on YouTube, but I never played these games. Anyway, the first game that comes to my mind is Oblivion, which is the fourth game in the Elder Scrolls series, and the third game was Morrowind, and I heard about it from my classmate in the 8th grade, and he showed me. It was 2003, and he showed me this game on his computer at home. He kind of started from the beginning of this Morrowind, and all these series are quite famous for their slow starting period, the same as I do with my starting period of go into speaking process. Yeah. So in Morrowind, you play for some character who was transported inside the ship somewhere, obviously to the province of Morrowind, and you first you get out of the ship out of the inside of the ship. Yeah, you are in the ship. It's it's a wooden ship, more like medieval wooden ship, and you see lots of wood. The bottom of the ship is wooden, and the deck of the ship is made of the wood as well. But for you, because you are inside of the ship, you see that the deck is the ceiling for you. So this is the beginning point of the game, and you learn to use the controls in this game, like use arrow keys on your keyboard to turn to the left, turn to the right, go forward, go back, and you use your mouth to kind of use to move the pointer that is the center of your vision any way you want. You can move your pointer at some object, and then the action to act on this object, to make some activity on this object appears. Like you can you see an apple on the plate, and you can take the apple, and then you can take the plate. And later you will discover that the apple have some value. You can sell it, but you can eat it and improve your health a little, or you can use it as an ingredient in some alchemy mixture, maybe. And then this alchemy mixture will have some effect. And again, you will be able to sell this alchemy mixture, or you will be able to use it on yourself. It's your choice. For this plate, the plate can be made of wood, so it's like nothing of worth, or it can be made of silver. Then it can cost quite alright, quite a while on the market, and you can sell it to the sellers who you will meet somewhere in the town. And there are lots of objects that with which you can interact. You can take them to your inventory, but you have some limit on the weight that you can carry, and the limit on the objects that you can put in your inventory. But anyway, you just move inside of this ship, interact with some objects, then you meet some people who obviously work in this ship. You can have some conversations with them, like when you click on the person. Okay, this game is a first-person view game, so you see everything that happens in the game from the eyes of the character for whom you please. Yeah, you can speak to this character who works on the ship, and the game gives you several options, like what you want to ask the character about, and for each line the character has a unique answer, and eventually you can choose all the lines in your small talk to this character, and you will learn lots of information about this country, about your mission, and the other stuff. But usually, to do all this, to listen to all this stuff, you need lots of time, and it's not very informative. So it's your choice whether to listen to it or just skip most of the lines, most of the possible dialogues, and just go for the main phrase, when you interact with this particular person. Okay, then you get out of the ship. When you go up to the desk, upstairs to the deck, then you take off the ship, and you go to some house where the guard is, and the guard explains you your starting mission. It gives you the choice to choose your character, like the gender, the race of your character, maybe some attributes like warrior or thief or a wizard, and then you start perform some missions that game gives to you, and you have the main mission for the game, and you have some side missions small side missions, like performing some activity for some side character, or you have long side missions according to the guild that you can join, like the guild of warriors, the guild of mages, the guild of thieves, and other stuff. The game Morrowind was a long-awaited game for the fans of this particular series, because I think the last game was created somewhere in 1997. Yeah, so it took about 6 years to create this third game in the franchise. I think the first game was created in 1994, so the fans waited for the second game 3 years and 6 years for the third game. But the next game, Oblivion, was published in 2006. So it took all the developers only 3 years to create Oblivion, and then 5 years later they created Skyrim, which is the 5th installment of the series, of the franchise, and to the date is the best RPG game in fantasy universe. And even now, 13 years later, people continue to buy this game on Steam and play it, because the graphics is quite cool for the game, but the details of the world, the missions, the whole spirit of the game is the best among all other games. It's almost absolute open world, because you can proceed with the main quest, something about hunting the dragons and going forward with your mission, or you can just explore the world. You can go on side quests with different guilds. I myself completed the guild side stories for sorcerers, for thieves, I think for thieves, and for I'm not sure about thieves, I don't remember what they were about, and for the Dark Brotherhood. Yeah, what about thieves? Oh, really? For now I can't remember anything about thieves, but I failed to go into warriors side quest, because my character didn't have enough complexion to be a warrior. Yeah, and I stopped with the main quest, which was for hunting some dragons, because I didn't like this stuff in general. But yeah, I finished other quests, and they were not so specific in the way of developing your character to be a thief or wizard or an assassin, but they were quite interesting in the way the story was introduced. So I used the tactic of I don't know, crouching, when I kind of silently and quietly crouched all over the places in the caves and in other places, and most of the characters, non-playable characters, didn't see me because I was crouching, and this is the way for assassins or thieves when they need to steal something or to get to the character and kill it without making any noise. But this way of proceeding of playing the game is not suitable for the warriors, for the sorcerers, and for the whole game itself. Maybe that's why I succeeded in some particular side quests. Yeah. But I was after the story itself, like the book, interactive book, where I can play rather than just read along the idea that author want to tell or introduce. And I liked this Skyrim universe. I can describe it more like the time of early Middle Ages, when these barbarians already destroyed the empire, the Roman Empire, and they created the small states, countries, with local leaders over each country. And the best way to imagine this landscape is this fence made of stakes with sharp ends. Yeah, they just put on one end, and the sharp end looks in the sky, and together they create this wooden fence against around the particular village or small country. Yeah. And they have these buildings inside, but most of the buildings are kind of one leveled, yeah. And my feeling was that all the buildings were made of wood, maybe in the central region, in the capital. The buildings were made of stone, but still they were more in the width and length than in the height, because when I played in Oblivion, which was the fourth game, the buildings were more about the high Middle Ages. Most of the buildings were castles made of stone, and when you look at these castles, they were rather high in the height. Yeah, the Gothical churches, all these high walls that surrounded the towns, the main castle. This was all of this was huge, and yeah, I like this type of buildings more than just the earlier stage of Middle Ages with buildings that have only one or two levels and were closer to the earth, yeah, to the ground. That's why I like Oblivion more than Skyrim, even though the graphics and all other stuff in Skyrim, the the caves, the graphics of nature, rivers, characters and animals or mythical creatures, or just some rogues and criminals. They were all better in Skyrim, but the feeling of the game, that is a winner for me, is from Oblivion. Some people believe that the previous game, the third one, Morrowind, had better setting, yeah, because the developers put 6 years of their labor into this game. All the towns in this game were quite unique, and they were really fantasy-like. Because I remember, each town, there are different races in this game, like ordinary people, nomads, Nords, people from north, but they are just people, but with very strong complexion and the resistance to the cold. And orcs, green mythical creatures who are very good warriors and have other characteristics. Elves, like high elves, I think dark elves, Hajit, which is the cat-like people. They are actually cats with the faces and the tails, but they have the intelligence of humans, and they have the posture as humans and dress like humans. Yeah, and some other stuff, red guards and other stuff. So in Oblivion, all these races lived in human-like towns made of stone, with castles, churches, and other stuff. In Skyrim, all these races lived in early Middle Ages buildings, yeah, made of wood. But in Morrowind, all these races lived in quite unique buildings for each race, I think. Yeah, I didn't play much this game because it was kind of hard for me at the time, and then I discovered that the graphics was very bad comparing to Oblivion, for example. But I traveled to some building which was a huge mushroom, more like, I don't know, the mushroom that is created inside water, like tea mushroom, chaga, I don't know, the chaga. And the upper part, the head of this mushroom, was kind of this form, and in this huge head were lots of rooms and lots of bridges from one side of this head, yeah, to another, and people lived in these rooms, and it was quite interesting to walk inside this mushroom-like building, because it wasn't made of stones or of woods. It was like created from the mushroom. And in this territory, when you traveled using roads, not just some specific transport, but when you walked on the roads, the trees were like these huge mushrooms. In other territories, the trees were like ordinary trees, but there they were mushrooms like, and that was really cool in the way of visual aesthetic and visual representation of something new, fantasy like, not ordinary. Yeah, this is where it was better one time to see all this once than hear or read about this in lots of words and letters. And another interesting building was the huge pyramid, but it's more like Indian pyramid in America, not with the smooth sides, but with these steps-like, staircase-like sides, and you really could walk inside this pyramid, and lots of rooms were there, lots of levels were there, and some people lived there. There were some stores, departments inside of it. So it was like the building and one building city, and it was really cool. I wished that they took all these buildings and this image style and put this into the Oblivion game with the progressive graphics that they used in it, or even in Skyrim with even more better graphics, but with this visual representation which they created in Morrowind. But the characters themselves were quite lame, maybe poor. There was no idea of the spine in the character, of the kind of, I don't know, maybe bones. So the characters were very caricaturic, or okay, not interested. The way they created beautiful environment, this way they kind of created very poor and lame characters for this game. So, and yeah, the fighting system in Morrowind was very frustrating, because you as the fighter with some sword, you couldn't really fight against even some rats, because when you swing your sword, you just missed against the rat, even though you hit it. Yeah, you saw that you hit the rat, but you missed because you had the characteristic of accuracy or something, and with zero accuracy you couldn't hit the rat at all, and it wasn't realistic, because in real world, if you take the X, you can hit something with this X eventually. Another way of going through this game was to take the mage character and use this fireball magic, because you developed your magic by casting the fireball into the wall, and you could stay against the building for half a day and cast fireballs, and you developed your technique. But to do the same developing with the sword, you needed to hit the real character, like enemy or the animal, and to really hit it with some accuracy. So it was almost unreal to improve your character with the sword-like style. And anyway, with these fireballs, you was quite weak character for the first maybe 25 or 50 levels, because each random rat that you encountered somewhere in the field could kill you, even though you hit it with lots of fireballs, quite strong fireballs. So all this stuff was kind of frustrating for me in 2006, when I had in 2009, when I had the ability to play this game. I could play Morrowind on my first computer in 2009, but it was really, really poor and lame with all these graphics and these developing characters and these fighting styles. But when I got my own computer in 2012, and I was able to start Oblivion with some degree of playable graphics and other stuff. I chose it because it was easier. It was really easier to fight. When you hit the animal, you got kind of one successful hit, not just you need to perform the accuracy. And I really liked all the caves in Oblivion. There were I think two types of caves, like the natural caves created by nature, and the stone caves, which were not the caves but caves like tunnels made of stones in some, I don't know, stone dungeons that were built deep under the ground, under the surface of earth, and you just entered this stone cave, and you went down, and you met some undead characters in this cave, and it was kind of difficult to kill these undead characters in these stone caves. But the worst thing was when you ventured deep enough, you discovered some door to open, which you needed some spell or some password. So most of these stone-like caves were the quest buildings, and you should get the quest for this building by traveling around this country where you play. So Oblivion, okay, where you played and you talked to random people, and most of the people gave you some quests, and somewhere in some distant small village you could find the character who would give you the quest for this particular stone cave that was situated far in the south of this country. Yeah, so it was quite kind of difficult for me to pass through these quests, because it was more interesting to explore the landscape itself, and then found this particular building, some castle or the cave or the stone cave, and then walk through this stone cave and kill some monsters inside, or evil animals, and then get to some deep levels and find some interesting stuff, like the chests with some magical items. Yeah. So really, I wasn't the fan of these games, though I kind of spent some time when I walked through the long side quests about the Dark Brotherhood Guild, or about thieves and wizards, and these side quests took really long time for me to just pass them, because at more advanced levels, near the end of the quest, the enemies were so strong that it took me several attempts just to kill this enemy, because I never was quite good at developing my RPG character to fight, against the computer, even though the Oblivion style of fighting was not so difficult. One guy showed me as an example, as he developed from the scratch the warrior character, and then he used this character to pass through some of the stages of Warrior Guild side quest. And all he needed to do is to enter arena with his own weapon, but with the dress that was given by the guys who created this arena, and then he fought against some preset characters, like the guy with a huge hammer, the guy with the sword, two elves. One was the archer, and the other was this daggers wielder, and other stuff. And after each fight, he could leave the arena, then go buy or find some bottles of replenishing health, and then return back and continue the fight in the arena. And somehow I failed to fight against these two sisters elves, one with the sword and another with the arrows, because when I kind of fought against the sword sister, the arrow sister shoot me from the distance and my character just died. I didn't figure how to pass through this stage, so I didn't finish the main, the warrior side quest. And another idea that they put into Oblivion game was about this Oblivion stuff. The world was quite human-like, with all these castle-like buildings made of stone, but at some point the oval gates from some different dimension were opened in different parts of this, let's say, Cyrodiil. I don't know for sure what was the name of this province. Let's say it's Cyrodiil. So different oval gates from the Oblivion, which was the different dimension, was opened, and different creatures like certain types of dinosaurs, imps, and demon-like warriors. They entered this Cyrodiil world through these gates, and the task of the character, which was the main quest, the task was to go into each of these Oblivion gates and kill all the monsters inside. Then usually he needed to go to some tower within these gates and to fight against some bosses of these demon-like creatures, and then destroy some stone on the top of this tower. And when the character destroyed the stone, he had some time to run out of the oval gates, because with the stone destroyed, the gates closed after some time. So the main quest was to go through all of these gates and to close them, and it was more like warrior job and the job of the warrior. And because I failed to play as the warrior on the arena, I failed to play as the warrior in this main quest, and I couldn't really destroy all the gates, and I never finished the main quest. But I played lots of side quests, and as I said, I played some of the side quest stories that were connected to different guilds, and I liked these types of stories. And I played Skyrim as well, with its early Middle Age buildings made of wood. And the world of the Skyrim is quite well, with lots of possibilities, lots of add-ons, with beautiful nature, beautiful, let's say, cities and other stuff. But I didn't really like the main quest of killing dragons. So, well, I am more into the traveling along the world, killing some creatures along the way without too efforts into this process, and just enjoying finding some stuff or passing through some quests and going forward to use this game like the interactive book, as I said. And since that moment, the fans were waiting for the sixth the game in the series of the Elder Scrolls. And for the 13 years, there was nothing about this, because first the Bethesda developers who created all these games, they created the fourth installment of Fallout, which used the engine, the programming core of Skyrim game, but for Fallout 4 is set in post-apocalyptic future with the real buildings from our world. Okay, the fourth Fallout is set within Boston, American city, and some of its surroundings. But all this environment was populated with some creatures that evolved and survived after this nuclear blast. So there were mutants, some ghouls, just raiders who were people who lived in these areas, and other stuff. So they created this game and they published it in 2015. And then all the developers put the efforts into creating the original Bethesda game, new game, based on some cosmic something settings. Yeah, like the settings were different planets in some system, in some universe, and the character could travel from one planet to another, and there should be original cosmic battles with using some spaceships and other stuff. And they created this game for lots of years, and the managers of this Bethesda department were not satisfied with the ideas they put into this game, and eventually something was published, and it was a really poor game because, for example, the landing from the space on each planet was just a static screen that showed some picture of the spaceship without animation at all. And the fighting on each planet with some creatures, some monsters, was just another rethinking of Skyrim or Fallout fighting against, let's say, zombies or ghouls. Yeah. So in the end, this game wasn't original at all. Something, and it was even worse than these two types of games, with the fantasy setting and the post-apocalyptic setting. But now, after the failure with this original stuff, I think the developers will start develop the sixth game of the Elder Scrolls, and maybe in 3 or 5 years they will publish something that will use the best ideas from the previous games, and that will use the new graphics, because it will be the gap of 20 years in graphics between the last Skyrim game and the Elder Scrolls game. So the graphics should be cool, and if they just use the best ideas from the previous games, and they add some regional ideas and the modern graphics, these games will be really cool, this game. And just because it's a new game, because it's not very interesting to replay these old games of 2006 and 2011 now in 2024. So I hope that the sixth installment of the Elder Scrolls will be in the end, and we all will have chance to play it and kind of live in this fantasy world, the best fantasy world that we have in all the game industry, and maybe to walk through some quests that linked to some guilds, the main quest, the side quest for the warrior guild, for the thief guild, for the dark brotherhood guild, and for the sorcerers guild. So I think that's all that I wanted to say about the Elder Scrolls games, about the gameplay, about the plots, maybe the advantages and disadvantages, and first of all, it's my own experience in these games. Not very successful, but I have something to say about these games, and I liked lots of them for the story, for the fantasy environment, and I hope that the next game will soon hit our computers. Yeah, that's all.